Good morning. Here we are with our weekly video, just a little later than usual, but that's because we have something special for you today. Not only at the very end are we going to run down this week's comics, but we have an event here Saturday where we have a special guest coming in. His new book is out and he's going to be signing. He's going to be working on art and showing you processes. We're going to find out all about it right now. You guys will know this man from many projects and, of course, being in Empire's events in the past. Eric Nguyen is here to talk about his new book, White Savior. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. How you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. Doing good.
Good. No, thank you for coming on. This is great. This is really fun because we don't, unfortunately, do a lot of events down here anymore. So when I get to do something like this with someone, it's really exciting. So this is going to be a good Saturday, just all day of you coming in and signing books, talking about your books. Why don't you tell us what you're going to be doing? Because you're going to be doing smart stuff, and I don't know 100% what to expect. I'm going to be just as surprised as everyone.
Yeah, I haven't done any signings or local shows for a while, so I thought it'd be a good time since I have that new book coming out from Dark Horse, White Savior, and thought I'd come down to your shop and do a little bit of not just signing, but I kind of want to do like an art sort of demo as well. I get all sorts of questions about how do I do work digitally these days. And so I thought I might as well just bring my whole system down there, bring a nice screen so you guys can take a look. I'm hoping that people will come who are interested in doing art or just understanding what a comic artist do these days. Just kind of interactive. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them, or you guys want to see me draw something, that's good too. So it's new to me. I haven't really did signings where I'm bringing my digital system for people to interact with. So I'll have my tablet. I have a screen. Thinking maybe a printer too. I'm not quite sure. We'll see about that.
We'll see. We'll play it by ear. And it's interesting too because things have changed a lot, as you said, these days with art, and a lot of people are moving over to the digital platform, so they'll get just a little bit of everything from you, right? From the initial sketches to the refining. That's great, and because you started out pen to paper, right?
Yeah. We all of us we start out pen to paper. We start out with crayons. We start out with
way back.
So everyone goes through that. Even my little kiddos. They love playing on the iPad, but I don't let them play on the iPad. I want them to scribble, to use crayons, brushes, whatever, make a mess. Doesn't matter. Not quite ready for digital. I mean, I see a lot of kids playing on digital, but as a learning tool, still need pen to paper. I still do a lot of idea sketches, character ideas with just that ballpoint pen. Pencil, just straight on bond paper.
Okay, and so you think just as a learning experience for new artists that the pen to paper is a much better way to go than just jumping.
It's just a easier way just to start understanding that you're communicating through your drawings. So don't worry about style, don't worry about technology. Just try to figure out how you are communicating your art on paper first, whatever that might be.
Is there something, and I'm not an artist, so I can't even begin to tell you, is there something almost more tactile about the sensation of the pen and the board that you're drawing on and all of that, or is that not a factor?
It's to me, I think it's good to get used to that, because a lot of times people who have done just analog all the time, they have a problem switching over to that odd feel of a plastic board, plastic screen with a plastic tool. But kids these days, they don't have that problem. My problem with kids these days is they don't understand. I can see it with my own kids. They don't understand scale. You're drawing on a screen, you don't understand how big your drawing is. But when you're drawing on paper, you can see how big your drawing is, and you can make a small drawing, you can make a big drawing, you can use your arm, you can use your wrist. All that stuff comes into play as being an artist.
And that's true. I didn't actually think about it, but there's also the whole element of what you draw is what you get. Whereas opposed to the other one, scale isn't as important on digital because you can resize, move, change things.
Yeah. And but when you lose the scale issue, you get caught up on things that might not even be important to a drawing, especially in comics. You're doing something so. I mean, on your board, it looks on your digital board, it looks like you're doing a real big drawing, but actuality, it's a small detail that just could be overlooked.
Okay, interesting. Well, this is all stuff that you can talk to him about on Saturday. Find out what the process is. If you've been having some issues with art, he might be able to help you with a few things or figure out a couple things. But he won't just be doing the art. He's going to be talking about his new book, which has a couple covers to choose from. Right here, the A and the B. Pick one of these guys up. Pick both up if you want. He'll be signing them as well. And why don't we talk a little bit about the book? Let's first off give us a rundown. Give us the elevator pitch on what they can expect from this.
Well, I've been doing a lot of these, and so hopefully I got the pitch down better than before when I first started out. Well, White Savior came about because I was getting, I haven't done a creator-owned book in such a long time. The last one I did was probably Gigantic with Rick Remender. Strange Girl and Gigantic were the only two that I've done in the past. And it's been so long since I've done another one that I thought it was about time to go back into doing a creator-owned book. And creator-owned books lend to a lot of freedom that you don't get when you're doing like a book from Marvel or DC. Even though you're trying to be yourself as an artist when you're working for Marvel and DC, sometimes you just can't help it, but you worry too much about fitting in a mold when you're working for Marvel and DC. With creator-owned book, I find that I don't have that sort of inhibition to just do whatever I want to do. I can do anything I want in this book, and it's fine. It works, or at least it works for me. So you don't get any sort of second opinion. When you get like a edit, like a note, you think, oh, did I do that wrong or not? But this, you just go straight into it. Whatever happens, happens. And I talk a lot with the co-creator, Scott Berman. He's a fantastic writer. His scripting is so good. That's why I partnered up with Scott. Scott's fairly new to comic book as far as having things published. This will be his first real published book from Dark Horse. But his scripting is so good, so funny. Even before I start with the art, when I read his scripts, they're just a joy just to read through, so I can get lots of different visuals on how I want to tackle the pages. Working with someone like Scott has been awesome. Like I said, he's new, but man, he's gonna go places. I mean, once editorial from Marvel and DC read this book, they'll see how good Scott is as a writer, and also has his ability to understand characterization and get into the mind of any character that he writes. It's really, I mean, it's a pleasure.
I have a quick question before we go back to White Savior. So speaking of the scripts, you said you really liked the format of the scripts. You clearly made it obvious that you liked his dialogue.
Yes.
But what is it about his script that you like? Is it tight and you know exactly what you're doing? Is it tight yet it leaves some loose room for you to wiggle?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. with creator own, we like to leave it loose so that I'm not inhibited by any sort of. We like to just we wrote also. We didn't even think about pages actually. We just wrote a story. We wrote the scenes that we wanted. We wrote the kind of jokes that we wanted in it, because mainly we wanted this book to be a comedy, because there's not that many. I mean, I've done so many serious books where it's just blood and noir, really dark stuff, so I wanted to do a little bit something that's fun and has comedy into it, has good camaraderie with the characters. So we really left it open. They call it the Marvel method, where it's just a very basic plot with just like an essay per page, and then I'll break it down. I'll break down the scenes. I'll break down how many pages a scene might need, and so that lends itself for me a lot easier to pace the book if I can just break it down myself.
Yeah, it really lends itself to this being a collaboration.
Exactly.
You than just writing a script and you drawing it.
Yep. And when he sees and afterwards, because we kind of know the kind of jokes we're trying to make, where as far as pushing jokes as well, if you read into it does kind of touch on all sorts of maybe a little politically incorrect sometimes, but it's just satire. It's me making fun of a lot of things that I've experienced myself, and Scott being who he is, he's funny, and we both like that sort of non-PC sort of jokes, that we can play, especially with a title like White Savior. Everyone initially, when we were afraid that people will actually, especially in this climate, right? White Savior, right? There's a whole connotation that comes with it, but we wanted to poke fun at that whole white savior trope, where this one person who's not from the culture or what have you come in, and he has all the answers and he just saves the day. So we just wanted to poke fun at that and make light of it, and actually take a different point of view than what's been going on as far as the entertainment goes, and hopefully it comes through as a comedy. And that's actually why we have two different covers. Initially, when I drew these covers, because I come from comics, I wanted a awesome looking badass cover, which has that there. The guy's holding a sword. He's looking mean and kind of he's gonna go at it. He's gonna take care of business, right? But when Scott was like, no, man, we got to do a comedy. So then Scott suggested that I take a more lighthearted approach to the cover. And there you go. You have a goofy looking white savior he's pretty bulky, but he has that arrow through his head, and he's kind of cockeyed, kind of drunken sort of look to him. And so I think that that was the right decision to go with the first cover the second cover, where it's kind of more of a satire and people can actually see it and understand that this will be a comedy book, not really a serious message about white savior.
Sweet. Well, then why don't we give us the rundown? What exactly can we expect from the book? What's the general idea?
Well, the general idea is Todd Parker. He's just as average, kind of common person, common Asian, like myself. I kind of relate to Todd Parker in a lot of ways, and he gets, he's a film history teacher, but and his grandfather always tells him the story of how the people of Inoki, long time ago, they followed this white savior, but to their detriment. It didn't go so well. And so and Todd, because he's heard this so many times before, he's like, yeah, grandpa, whatever. And so because, that's the past, and he's just, he's not so concerned with it. But it turns out that he goes through this time portal, or this juxtaposition, where he gets brought back to actually where the story of Inoki and the villagers, and he finds out that he's stuck in this time place where he knows what's going on, and he knows what's going to happen to these people of the villagers, and he tries to save them. And so he and he knows that the white savior is not a white savior. So he's trying to convince the people, the villagers, not to listen to this prophecy of the white savior. And through that, we poke fun at the whole white savior. We see that the white savior isn't the all-knowing person that the prophecy was told about the white savior. So we go through this whole thing where he has this, trying to convince people of their beliefs, trying to convince people to change, even though they know that what the white savior is saying is kind of ridiculous, but because they have so much of a belief of the prophecy of the one and the white savior, that that they think Todd is actually the idiot and not the white savior. So we go through this whole thing. It's a comedy. So we're poking fun at that, where his challenge is to get people to believe that they don't need him. They don't need the white savior.
And this is going to be 6 issues, correct?
Actually, it's 4 issues.
4 issues. Okay. And we had a question about whether or not this is a one and done, or if you will be continuing the story afterwards, potentially.
Well, we do have at the end of it all, it does lend itself to another arc, but depending on how it does or where it goes, we don't know. We'll see. We have ideas where there's there's a segue to a dark savior.
Okay.
Well, so through this book, you'll be introduced to a potential one shot of a dark savior, and at the end of it all, it does, like I said, lend itself to a second story arc.
Okay, so it could. We'll just play it by ear. You've got 4 issues; it'll be done, and then you can just call it a day. Well, that's awesome. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a good Saturday. Everybody, you can come down. This has got to be exciting to be back on some creator-owned work.
Yes,
because it sounds like the freedom you get is pretty good.
Yeah. It's just one of the things where I when I was thumbing through my older work, Strange Girl, specifically Strange Girl, where I really had, I kind of really wanted to go back to just what can I do now that's sort of free.
Yeah.
Style wise or color wise, whatever, or just storytelling wise.
Okay, so, well, great. Well, then we'll get through this and see what you have planned next, because you may get the bug again, and it might be just creator-owned season for you.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Like I told you yesterday, we're hoping that this gets to somewhere more than just a comic, and from the discussions we've had so far, the reception and the support that we're getting is phenomenal. We're talking to people who have the ability to take this more into, like, let's say Netflix streaming or TV film media. So
that's pretty exciting. That's great. And there's only been 1 issue out, so
it's only been 1 issue out. Yeah.
So no, that's an absolutely fantastic response. So yes, this Saturday you definitely need to come down. You need to pick up your copy, talk with Eric, see what's going on, figure out the process, especially if you are a artist and a creator. You're going to want to see some of this stuff. And even if you're not, it's going to be interesting for people like me who have no ability in this. To see it come together is always absolutely phenomenal. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
And
well, thanks, man.
You'll be in it. You'll be in here at noon, right, when we open?
Yeah. Noon. I'll stay until whenever time. I opened up my day for this whole thing, and hopefully, it's fun, entertaining, and educational to some degree.
Yeah, no, people are going to have a great time. It's going to be a good Saturday, everybody. Come on down, see Eric, play with the pugs, pick up some comics. It's going to be a good day. So awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. We will have everybody come down and see you and ask any more questions that they might have on Saturday. So I will see you then, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. See you.
All right. Well, don't miss this Saturday. Again, we haven't done a lot of events. So come on in, take advantage of Empires. We've got the lounges. He's going to be set up in the front. Just come in, hang out, bring some food, chill for a little bit, and just make it an old school Empire Day. It's weird to say that, isn't it? The last 3 years have gone by very quickly. Let's run down this week's comics real quick since we didn't get a chance to earlier. This week's top 3, but we're going to kick it off with a hot sauce. They're back. I got the Angry Irishman and the olive sauces and the dill sauces. These things I have been craving. And I know I haven't gotten a lot of the hot sauces I usually get up there. It's because the distributor I was using went out of business. I now have to contact each one of them individually before I can find a new distributor. So it's really a lot of work, but I'm trying. So this one, though, I have been really craving. It's the olive version. If you like olives, it is literally liquid olive with heat. So good. And it's thick. It goes on salads. It goes on sandwiches. It goes on just about everything. So this week's top 3, just because, how fun is that? They got a Dark Wing comic book. Since I've had the store, they've never had one. I'm pretty sure they had one before that, but it is out with a new #1 this week. And just in line with that, Gargoyles #2. You're a rabid fan base. The Gargoyles comic is out. #1 still on the shelf. I've got variant covers up there to choose from, a ton of stuff. And Jeff Johns over at DC, the Golden Age, JSA. He's also doing Stargirl. He's just taking the things that he loves. Obviously he loves the Golden Age. His old JSA run was one of the best comic runs you will read. And #2 is out. We got Yoda, Thor. That's a crazy cover. Speaking of crazy, oh my God, is this book a trip? Like, his writing is just like his art. It is over the top, but it's such a fun book. Sins of Sinister with a classic Strike Force cover on there. Sabretooth, Catwoman, cool little cover. You can't keep her contained. Punchline continues. It's all Batman over there. Junkyard Joe, more Jeff Johns. The man was gone for ages, and now he's back. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and TMNT #2. We got more #1s in, too, so they're back on the shelf. And Invincible is doing a reprint of #1, but they're also doing a black and white version, so you can see the raw cut of the entire thing. Magic Order's back. He has so many books that he hasn't continued, but he won't stop Magic Order. Not that I want him to, but let's get back to Empress. Let's get back to Space Bandits. There's just so many things I want to see. Saga is back. Almost made it to the top 3. Finally, in softcover, American Gods. It's been in hardcover forever. That is it for the books this week. We will see you all on Saturday. We open at noon. And come on down, meet Eric, pick up some White Savior, and have a great day.